Hey everybody, welcome to Home with the Halsteads and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making some applesauce. It's simple, it's delicious. It's something that you can make with your children, with your grandchildren, with your nieces, your nephews. You can make it for yourself, for your family. You can make it for your grandparents. And it's just real easy. And my wonderful neighbor brought me some apples. And I also wanted to tell you that when you have apples in your refrigerator or out on your counter and they're beginning to get a little soft or beginning to get a little mealy, don't throw those apples away, because you can make applesauce out of them and they will be perfectly fine. So let me tell you how we're going to do it. This is so simple, so simple. So I'm starting out with 4 apples because that's what I have, and I'm going to peel these, core them, and cut them up, and I'm going to cut them in pieces that are about the same size, and the reason for that is so that they will all cook at the same time and they'll all be done at the same time. I'm using 1/4 cup of sugar. Now you don't have to use any sugar if you don't want to, or you can cook your apples and then add your sugar later. You can taste test it, and if it needs sugar you can add it, but I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of sugar. I'm using 3/4 of a cup of water and 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now you don't have to put cinnamon. If you don't care for cinnamon, or your children, grandchildren don't like cinnamon, well then just leave it out. And then I would say, remember my tip on pineapple juice or orange juice or lemon juice or citrus juice, any kind of citrus juice. If you're making a large amount of applesauce, then I would recommend that you peel your apples and you run them through some kind of citrus juice. If you're doing a small amount of apples, then you probably can get them peeled and cored and diced or sliced, however you're going to do it, before they start turning brown. But I love citrus juice on apples. And then I'm just using a small saucepan with a lid. I need a knife to peel my apples. I have a little pastry cutter. You can use that to chop your apples once they get done. You can use a fork to chop them up. You can use a little hand chopper, or whatever you've got that you want to use to chop up your applesauce and to mix it up. So let's make this applesauce together. I wanted to tell you that I believe that these apples that my sweet neighbor brought me are golden delicious. One had already started turning yellow and the others had too. They start out green and then they start turning yellow, the golden delicious. So that's what I'm using today, and I have peeled and cored and diced the apples into little sizes that are all the same so that it will cook evenly. I'm going to add our sugar. Remember, I have 1/4 cup of sugar, and to that we love cinnamon, so I'm just going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm adding my dry ingredients together, which is only 2 ingredients today, the sugar and the cinnamon. But always remember, this is a tip from Joyce, that if you're using cinnamon, you definitely want to add it into another dry ingredient so that it won't rise to the top. So now I'm just going to sprinkle that over the apples, stir it around a little bit, and I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of water. I'm going to take this over to the stove, bring it to a boil. I'll turn it down to probably a medium heat and let it cook for 15 to 20 minutes until our apples get really soft, and then we'll be ready to mash it and have homemade applesauce. Okay, we're checking our apples. They've been cooking for about 7 or 8 minutes. I had them covered, and I've uncovered them so that you can see how they're progressing. I did want to tell you that I swapped out. I did this when I made the other segment of the video and when I was mixing everything together. But I did put them in a larger saucepan. These have a tendency to boil over, and you don't want that to happen, because you don't want a mess to have to clean up on your stove. So I'm going to cover these again and allow them to continue cooking until they are completely soft, and we'll be back. Our apples are done, and now we're ready to mash them. They look so delicious. They're really, really tender. I told you earlier that you could use a little chopper to mash them with. You can use potato masher. This is right here. This is pastry cutter. You can use that. You can use a fork, whatever you want to mash them. But I have a new gadget that I don't use very often, and it's called a Smart Stick. It's an emulsion blender, and it has two parts to it, and I'm going to try it this morning. I hope that I can do it. This just fits on here like this, and when you get ready to take it off, you just mash this little button right here. So I'm just going to, it's electric, and it has an on button and it has a lock button, and you mash both of these to make it work, I think. So we're going to try it. So I'm just going to wow, this is amazing. Look at that. Wow, that is so quick and so amazing. And we have homemade applesauce. I'm going to have to use this more often on some of my recipes. And so I'm just going to lay this aside. And now I'm going to stir our applesauce, which it all was blended. And now I'm going to put it in this little bowl. Just pour it in this little bowl. I love applesauce with muffins, little homemade muffins, those little wonderful mini pecan muffins that my friend Hugh Lane gave us the recipe for and showed us how to make those. And then blueberry muffins or bran muffins or whatever kind of muffins you want. But there we have it, homemade applesauce. I'll be back. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. Thank you for helping me to make this wonderful homemade applesauce. And I hope that you'll make some real soon with your apples. And then we're going to try it. Here we go. I know it's good. I just love it. That is so good. There's no comparison between bought homemade and homemade applesauce. So I hope you'll do it. I hope you'll make some. I'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.